In the previous section, we have rendered our shows app on the web page by displaying some data of friends show on the UI. In this section, let's render different shows data using the same components that we created through utilizing the concept of props. Okay, inside my show.js, let's start replacing each of the hard-coded data one by one with props. We can replace friends with this .props.show title. Show title prop will be passed to title component from outside. You can think of it as title component is consuming props object as input that contains show title set inside it and produces a view that renders show title as heading on the web page. Okay, now let's do the same thing for poster component as well. Remove hard-coded poster URL and replace it with this .props.show poster. Here also, poster will consume poster URL as props and produces an image element that gets rendered to the web page as actual image. You can see how well the components fit into producer-consumer pattern. Let's do the same steps for showInfo component. Replace hard-coded plot data with this .props.showPlot. And replace IMDb rating value with this .props.showRating. Okay, now we have made our title, poster and showInfo components as reusable by making them accepting the content from outside rather than displaying static content all the time. Similarly, we would also like to make show component reusable as well. This means show component should accept show object from outside that has title, poster, plot and IMDb rating properties inside it, which it requires to pass the data to these components accordingly. Okay, instead of typing this .props.show again and again, let's take a reference to this .props.show for once and store it in show variable. So I'm gonna do var show equal to this .props.show. Okay. In title component, we are referring to the property name show title. So we need to pass same property name to title component. I'm gonna create a property by name show title inside title component. And the value of it will come from the show object field inside shows.json. Let's take a look at shows.json file. It's been referred to as title here inside the object. So we will access it by show.title. Similarly, the name of property that we referred inside poster component is show poster. So let's pass show poster prop to poster component. By assigning it to value, let's check it in shows.json. It's been named as poster. So it will be show.poster here. Okay. Similarly, for showInfo component, I'm gonna pass the props as what I have referred to inside it. It is show plot and show rating. So let's create the props show plot and show rating. Inside shows.json file, they were named as plot and IMDb rating. Let's pass them accordingly. Show.plot and it will be show.imdb rating. Okay, let's save it, and inside our index.js file, we need to import shows.json file at the top in order to send shows data as props to show component. Okay, let's import it and store it in shows variable. One thing to note, we don't need to tell here extension for shows.json file also, because Webpack file that we get from create React app automatically looks for .json file extension if it couldn't able to find the same file with .js extension. Okay, now our shows variable contains an array of shows objects. We can pass any of the show as prop to our show component. Let's say if we pass the first show using shows of 0 like this, then it will render friends show. Let's save it and try it on the browser. We got the data of friends show displayed. Now let's pass the second show using shows of 1. We can get to see we got the data of Game of Thrones displayed. Okay, finally let's pass the last show. Now show component will render Sherlock Holmes. Let's also check it. Awesome. Finally, we can even create 3 different instances of show component to render all the 3 shows together on the web page. Let's create them. Okay, since we are passing multiple React elements, let's wrap them inside a div. Okay, let's save it and check the output on browser. And there we go. We have rendered all the three shows together. Superb. This is exactly what component and props allow us to do. Using the same component, we can produce different content on the UI with some customization using props. It's like you want to eat a pizza, but you don't want the same pizza every time. Who would possibly want to eat the same type of pizza every single time, right? To fix this problem, we can add different toppings on top of pizza, but its crust will be the same. You can think of crust as of our component and toppings as the props. This is exactly what we did with show component here. We created a show component which presents the same layout for all the types of shows. But we pass different shows to it in order to render different show every time. Okay, let's introduce the concept of state in the next section and make our application more dynamic that can display a slideshow. Alright, let's continue.